Lecture number 2. The notion of style and meaning from a stylistic point of view. What is style? At first glance, it might seem like a simple concept, a writer's personal flair, or the way we phrase our thoughts. But in linguistics and stylistics, style is much more than surface decoration. It is a powerful tool of communication, persuasion, emotional expression, and even manipulation. The word style comes from the Latin stylus, a pointed instrument used by the Romans to write on wax tablets. Over time, it came to mean the manner of writing, and later, the distinctive way language is used. Today, in stylistics, we study not only the what of language, but the how and why behind each choice. One of the key areas of stylistics is the study of individual style, that is, how particular writers, speakers, or even genres use language in unique and recognizable ways. According to I.R. Galperin, an individual style is a specific combination of language units, expressive means, and stylistic devices that makes a writer's voice unmistakable. For example, when you read a poem by Emily Dickinson or a novel by Ernest Hemingway, you can often identify the author purely by the tone, structure, and rhythm, even without seeing their name. This is the power of individual style. Charles Bailey, a student of Ferdinand de Saussure, brought stylistic analysis into modern linguistics by focusing on emotional and expressive aspects of language. He laid the groundwork for linguostylistics, the study of stylistic variation in language from a linguistic and communicative point of view. One of the most important ideas in stylistics is that meaning is not fixed. It changes depending on how and where a word is used. There are several layers of meaning. 1. Lexical meaning, the basic dictionary definition of a word. For example, the word rose denotes a flower. 2. Grammatical meaning, the meaning expressed through grammar, such as tense, number, or case. 3. Contextual meaning, meaning that arises specifically from the situation or sentence in which a word appears. For example, she gave him a cold look. Here, cold doesn't mean temperature. It expresses emotional distance. This is contextual meaning. Stylistics also explores the polysemy of words, their ability to carry multiple meanings. A single word can shift in tone depending on the speaker's intent, the context, and the audience. Consider the word fire. As a noun, the fire warmed the room, literal. As a verb, she was fired from her job, professional. As a metaphor, he had fire in his eyes, emotional, stylistic. This is why stylistics views language as dynamic, not static. A major task of stylistics is to investigate the tools writers use to make language expressive and memorable. Expressive means, EM, are standard language forms that gain stylistic effect in certain contexts. They include intonation, word order, repetition, diminutive suffixes like doggy, auntie, interjections like oh, ugh. These elements exist in the language system, but when used creatively, they amplify emotional or logical meaning. Stylistic devices, SD, are consciously chosen, often artistic techniques that shape interpretation. Some classic examples. Metaphor, time is a thief. Irony, what a lovely day, said during a storm. Hyperbole, I've told you a million times. Antithesis, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Galperin defines a stylistic device as a pattern, a mold into which any content can be poured, enabling writers to intensify certain features and guide reader perception. Galperin also identifies 5 functional styles in English, each shaped by the aim and context of communication. 1. The belles lettres style, the language of poetry, prose, and drama. It's expressive, artistic, imaginative. Example, the stars whispered secrets to the night. 2. The publicistic style, the language of speeches, essays, and journalism. It's persuasive and emotional. Example, we must act now, before it's too late. 3. The newspaper style, short, informative, and neutral. Example, new tax law approved. 4. The scientific style, logical, precise, used in research and academic writing. Example, the data confirms the hypothesis. 5. The official style, used in bureaucratic, legal, or diplomatic contexts. Example, the undersigned agrees to the terms and conditions set forth. Each style uses different vocabulary, grammar, and tone. And stylistics helps us understand why these choices are made. One of the fascinating things about stylistics is how subjective it can be. Two readers may interpret the same sentence differently, depending on their background, mood, or assumptions. For example, "he smiled." To one reader, it might feel warm and reassuring. To another, it may seem eerie or sarcastic, depending on the context and their own imagination. That's why stylistics also includes the reader's perspective, not just the writer's intention. This is especially true in literature, where ambiguity, irony, and layered meanings invite multiple interpretations. Stylistics gives us the tools to navigate these complexities. Finally, stylistics teaches us to analyze not just what is said, but how it is said, and to what effect. It trains us to read critically, interpret deeply, and write meaningfully. Whether you're studying fiction, translation, advertising, or public speaking, stylistics helps you become not just a language user, but a language expert. So next time you see a simple phrase like, "he left," remember, it could also be, "he stormed out," "he quietly walked away," "he vanished without a trace." Each one tells a different story, using the same core idea. That's the essence of style. Before we wrap up, let's take a moment to reflect on one of the most fascinating aspects of stylistics: the power of connotation and pragmatic meaning. As we've seen, denotative meaning tells us what a word refers to, but connotation tells us how that word resonates emotionally, socially, and contextually. It shapes our impressions, our judgments, even our tone of voice. Let's take two simple words: childlike versus childish. Both stem from the word child, but their connotations are strikingly different. Childlike suggests innocence, wonder, purity. Childish implies immaturity or irrational behavior. The denotation is close, but the connotation changes everything. Another pair: she's slim versus she's skinny. Slim is often a compliment. Skinny can sound judgmental or critical. Again, it's not just the dictionary meaning that matters, it's the stylistic coloring. In stylistics, connotation is often where the author hides their attitude, their emotion, or their irony. This is why connotation is essential in poetry, political rhetoric, advertising, and even courtroom language. A single word can frame an entire narrative. Pragmatically, the style of a text also signals the speaker's intent and relationship with the audience. A formal tone may imply distance and professionalism. A casual tone builds closeness or solidarity. Even silence, hesitation, or a pause can carry meaning. So when we analyze language through a stylistic lens, we're not just reading, we're decoding layers of intent, power, tone, and perception. That's the real beauty of stylistics.